don't lose your shit moving forward. Talking about, right? Some people are like, I can't stand my family, I can't stand my kids, I need to get out. But
Notice
no,
those two ducks behind me are not socially isolating themselves. I'm a little disappointed.
virtual ducks don't have to socially isolate. No, just like spend a lot of time on the phone with people. It's like
Getting people by the emotion of what's happening.
you got fear, you got panic, you got stress, you got overwhelm, you got like, I give up. My doctor actually called me yesterday and she's like, oh, I'm just checking in on some of my patients in case they need any prescriptions. And I'm like, no, I'm good. She's like, do you need any anti-anxiety or sedatives? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And she's like,
You didn't even ask for gummy bears? What the hell?
she's like, you're the first person who's turned me down on sedatives or anti-anxiety. And I'm like, that's what wine is for.
The ultimate anti-anxiety.
But yeah.
I'm Mark Gaylord.
Stop. You can.
Okay, I feel like it's the David Letterman top 10 list. Opportunity number 6.
I'm watching this fly on my computer for the last 2 minutes, distracting me.
Crisis. I'm Mark Gaylord. I'm here the other day, and he said,
Stop. He told us 2 weeks just to keep us quiet. I think they always knew it's going to be longer. So don't complain too much. To really rethink what I want to do with my practice next 25 years.
I'm Mark Gaylord, and I'm here with Dr. Agatha Biss for our ongoing series, Leadership in Times of Crisis. Agatha, what's our topic today?
Well, considering it's such a nice day, we thought we would present to you 7 opportunities that are available to all of us while we're sitting at home that will make your business and your personal life so much better moving forward. So hang in there with us because these are really, really cool.
The first one is just the opportunity to spend time with family and to reconnect at a completely different level. I was speaking with a doctor the other day, and he said to me, he had 14 dinners with his family in the last couple of weeks. He said he hasn't done that consecutively for the last 8 or 9 years and realized the importance of it. And he's committed to himself and his family that he will continue to do that long after this crisis.
That's awesome because that's not what everybody's talking about, right? Some people are like, I can't stand my family, I can't stand my kids, I need to get out. But no, It's true. And I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and she said, in 17 years is the first time she has actually talked to her children and connected like for real. So yeah, I think this is a real opportunity to slow down and get to know people again. I mean, even myself, I feel like I actually answer the phone when it rings now. Like for the last few days, any friend that called actually gets through because I'm like, well, I got all day. I might as well talk to you and build our friendship, right? So I think a lot of people are really feeling that. So it's really nice to see. And it is an opportunity that maybe we were forced into it, but I'm glad a lot of us are, really taking it seriously and getting to know their families.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And I don't know if you noticed, but those two ducks behind me are not socially isolating themselves. I'm a little disappointed. A couple of quacks.
Virtual ducks don't have to socially isolate or socially distance because the virus doesn't live in the virtual world unless I think it in.
I think that picture may have been taken long before the virus anyway, so my duck friends are exempt.
God.
Opportunity number 2, Dr. Biss.
All right.
We talked about this before.
Opportunity number 2 is something that I am planning on doing next week since I'm still technically in quarantine for the 14 days after my trip. But the thing I'm going to do next week that I think everybody should do is spend a day in your office and go through your numbers and like really look at where you were in the past so that you can get an idea of your percentages and how you made decisions and where you spent money and maybe where you spent too much money so that moving forward, because we all probably will have to trim down a little bit, where the opportunity to do that is right away. So, look at your percentages of things like payroll, just general dental supplies, general office expenses, labs. Well, lab will vary depending on the type of office you have, right? I mean, if you do a ton of cosmetic dentistry, your lab will be much higher than just regular basic restorative. But having said that, we may not be seeing a lot of cosmetic, for a little while moving forward as people are sort of more cautious with their money. So just to get real awareness of how we thought before, how we spent money before, so that we can sort of be ready to make new, better decisions moving forward.
Right. And I think that people should actually probably be journaling this as they go through their office, and intimately learn probably facets of their office that they weren't familiar with prior to having this time on their hands, right?
Okay, so number 3 is actually anticipate what kind of things are going to go up in cost. So for example, will your rent go up next year? Or a lot of people are getting deferrals on their rent, or loans or mortgage or whatever else. And, that will obviously add up to our expenses moving forward, at least for some time. So you want to be aware of that. The other thing is that, maybe you have some equipment that is failing, or you need new things that you need to get for the office, or maybe some things will need repair. All those things if you spend a day in your office and look around and figure out, what do I need to brace myself for and plan for, anticipate, because that's really going to throw us for a loop. I mean, assuming we're closed for 3 months and potentially maybe even 4, if you did get your rent deferred or your mortgage deferred or whatever else deferred, that you're still going to have to pay that back as soon as you go back into the office. So kind of planning for that and structuring the payments so that you don't lose your shit moving forward.
There's something you loosely touched on, and that was the shutdown protocols. And when we first went out, we thought maybe 2 weeks. We know for a fact it's going to be longer. So
that
there's
was,
certain things that
they told us 2 weeks just to keep us quiet. I think they always do. It's going to be longer.
100%. But the thing is,
so don't complain too much.
There are equipment protocols and shutdown procedures that should be followed in order for when you come back here, all your equipment is in tip-top working order.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what those are, we can send those out to you or refer to your vendor, and they can give you that proper equipment shutdown protocol.
Yeah, for sure. I know Sue in my office has already done that. So she went in last week and this week to kind of take care of all the equipment stuff, and taking care of some of the phone calls to the patients and staying in touch with patients and things like that. And I think maybe that's kind of a side one. Another step that potentially everybody should be doing is making sure that you're really connecting with your patients, right?
Yeah.
Because if you just ignore everybody for, say 3 months, people need to feel like you're there for them. So a lot of dentists are either emailing or texting, or, Sue yesterday and the day before was in the office for 2 full days, just calling anybody who likes to be called. Like everybody knows which patients prefer the phone. And she spent 2 days just chatting with patients to see, how they're doing and how to get a hold of me at all times and things like that. So I think those are really, really important too. And we've got the time to do it, and I'll be doing that next week. So why not reconnect with your patients and really bring up your value in their eyes, for sure.
Yeah, and another thing I shared with you that some of the American doctors that I've been collaborating with are doing is actually having Zoom invite calls with their patients.
Yeah,
so that they're humanizing themselves as doctors, which is brilliant. Yeah. And then they're also giving them sort of the state of the union, if you will, what's happening, what it'll look like when they come back, when people could be in full hazmat gear to do a hygiene cleaning, and giving them an understanding. And some of those doctors are getting 60, 70 patients during these Zoom calls, and that type of connection is going to prove to be invaluable long term. Something else that people may want to consider. It sounds out of the box, but people are really appreciating
great
it.
thing. This is, how we're communicating with our friends now and with you guys. So why not communicate like that with your patients, for sure.
Absolutely. So what's the next opportunity?
So the next opportunity is think about if you're looking to make any changes with your people. So whether to change the way you schedule, or change the way you interact with your team, or change the way that you do things with your team. Potentially looking at, for me, it's going to be a little bit of a change in scheduling and how we use time, but also maybe positioning people differently based on, some of what I've seen in the last few weeks, and in terms of everyone's reaction and everyone's tolerance for stress too, right? I mean, you learn a lot when people are scared, and that may or may not help you shift moving forward how you deal with your team. So that's something to think about for a lot of us, and whether or not you'll be able to open full out or you'll be doing it in stages, so maybe a few people back at a time or part-time or whatever that works for you. That's going to impact as well how we go back to our offices. I'm watching this fly on my computer for the last 2 minutes, distracting me.
Hey, it's spring. You should be grateful.
I know, I'm sitting outside. It's
the weather's here. Flies, ducks, we've got it all. All right, so there's another opportunity. Let's keep going down the list.
Okay, the next one is really think about what you'd like to do differently and sort of how to go about that now and how to really commit to it. And what I mean by that is, this is like an unprecedented time for all of us to sit and think of who we want to be moving forward and what we want to be known for. And there is the ability, I don't know about a lot of people, but for me to sit and have the next, say, 2 months to really rethink what I want to do with my practice next 25 years, or at least the next decade, is really exciting, right? So really think about, if you could do it differently moving forward, what would that look like? And
it may involve a lot of difficult choices, but those are choices that are going to benefit you in the long run versus just going the easy route that you may have done day to day when we were in the sort of just the realm of going to work.
Yeah. So I think it's something that, I've talked to a few people, and some people said, we're coming back into a time where a lot of like elective procedures like veneers, for example, may not be prevalent for a little while anyways, right? I mean, people think they're going to be watching their money a little closer for some time. And, what does that mean for some of us that we're used to doing a lot of it, right? Or a lot of like full mouth cases or full arch. And the reality is that you may still get some of these cases, but you may not get them the way you're used to getting them. And what could that mean? What could you use that time moving forward, and where could you shift where you've really always kind of thought about, but you weren't sure that you could? Because now you might have an opportunity to do something that's a little unique, or maybe take a new course and become known for something else.
Yeah, and even right now, there's a ton. The internet's flooded with CE courses. Great timing to get that under your belt because, again, these are things that get overlooked of the day-to-day being busy. Okay, I feel like it's the David Letterman top 10 list. Opportunity number 6.
Okay, the next one is basically what I call getting your money right, and it's something that I have just finishing up building, and we're offering that as a full course download when you subscribe to UPB Dental Academy. So if you go onto our website and join our mailing list, you will get access to this course. And it's essentially what I had been doing in my office in the last very little while, right before the pandemic, and then now is going to be invaluable moving forward. And it's just a really cool, simple system that helps you manage your money in a really neat, unique way that allows you to really plan for the health of your practice, the health of your business, not just getting through the day, not just like trying to like put out fires, but actually really knowing what's coming ahead and how to manage it.
So I really appreciate you putting that out there. This is great that this complimentary information is going to be there for people that visit UPB Dental Academy and subscribe to the mailing list. I think it's going to be invaluable information, and I thank you and the people at UPB for putting that out there as a gift to our audience.
My pleasure. All right, the last one, step number 7.
Step number 7.
And that is to create...
Can you insert a drum roll here? Can you
oh, yeah.
Get the drum roll.
It's coming.
And then I want the ducks to fly away at the end.
Okay, you do that.
All right. Step number 7.
Okay, so opportunity number 7 is to create a commitment to learn one thing a day. And it's like as easy as that sounds, so many people are spending so much time on Netflix and YouTube that isn't really valuable. And I think that if you can commit to learning one thing a day in 2 months, you might actually be a whole new person. Like, I've been reading this book that I've been putting off for months and months and months, and I've just been like every single day chipping away at a chapter a day, and I love it, because how often do we have time to just sit and do something that we don't normally have time for, right?
Yeah. And I think people could make that list very readily on the things that they'd like to do that they've never had time to do.
Yeah.
And so again, it's starting to sound redundant, but this is opportunity. Like, look at this as great opportunity. Put this time to use for you, and it's something that's going to serve you long term. So Agatha, as always, I thank you for your time. I appreciate what UPB is doing for the dental community, and I look forward to talking to you when we do Leadership in Crisis Part 4.